It's 5:02 on September 3rd. I'm going to go ahead and call the regular meeting to order. We'll start with roll call, please.
Kimberly Lee.
Here.
Lana Cosley-Smith.
Here.
Isaac McKechnie.
Here.
Sean Borowitz. Michael McCurchie.
Here.
Rob McGrory.
Here.
Bridget Sorensen.
Here.
Tyler LaPlante.
Here.
Larry Barbeau.
Here.
Aaron Paymont. Okay. Kimberly Hampton.
Here.
Kimberly Gravel. Here. Austin Lowe's.
Here.
Sean Borowitz.
Okay, well, we have a quorum. On today's agenda, we have the following items. We have invocation, membership participation, minutes from 8:20 of 24 and 8:27 of 24. We have the following resolutions. We have ACFS USDA Emergency Supplies FY25 budget. We have ACFS Emergency Assistance FY24 budget modification. We have indirect costs FY24 budget modification. We have FY 2025 continuing funding health division. We have comments on GLRI action plan. We have authorization to enter into contract JKL school storage building. We have Ishpeming Loft project, authorization to invest Eagle lending. We have acceptance of Altria settlement offer. We have investing in the RX Kids initiative. We have approval of JKL fiduciary committee bylaws. We have obligation ARPA funding for tribally controlled school. Under new business, we have conservation committee request, and we have board of directors 2024 calendar, and we have board concerns.
Motion to add rescind resolution 2024-249.
All right, so we have a motion and support. Any discussion there? Hearing none, all those in support signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? That motion carries. Since no one objected, we have a sufficient enough amount of board members willing to waive the rules to add that to tonight's agenda, and that will be voted on last.
Motion to approve the agenda.
All right, so we have a motion and support. Any discussion on the overall agenda? Okay, hearing none, all those in support signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion carries. And that brings us to invocation with Gerard from Traditional Medicine.
Holy witch. Hello? Is that on? Yeah. Oh, here. As this day begins for a new education year in parts of North America, I remember my dad and my grandfather and my mom, my grandmother used to say, we had a really good summer because none of you were brought home in a cop car. And I often reflect on that because there's a lot of people that were brought home in a cop car this summer. But I also think about where we're at in the year of 224, and I guess the foundations to leading the way or changing the way, and how versatile we are within the changes that we have. Our kids from an early age of 2 years old to 22 are so advanced into technology. And then the ones that are 22 to 42, they're into a little bit of advanced technology. But us old timers, we have a great struggle with the technology of today. So when you take the great technology of today and the struggles of it, we have great struggles with traditional references to changing the way. So, Six Nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, they're playing for the North American Championships in lacrosse down in their lacrosse circle in what they call Six Nations along the Grand River. And the Longhouse people have their own passports recognized within some of the Gin 20 countries. And I often think about where their traditional governance comes from. Is they come from the women, the grandmothers. That's where that grandmother's council is. That's where those faith keepers. And then the men have their roles as the runners and the protectors. And in 1991, in the Oka crisis, there was 12 of those original keepers stood up to the world, stood up both to the United States of America and to the federal government of Canada. And that was the Oka crisis. And when you think about the history, that's only been 32 years, 33 years. Then, so I think about that in today's world, about the advancements or the advancing. And then I think about how I guess as a nation of people, Six Nations, the Iroquois Confederacy, how they maintain, I guess, the world for a small amount of people that's less than 1 million, that they can control the world. And how they've reached that is they reach it through spirit. And I was thinking about that yesterday because I was reading a lot of lacrosse stuff, and I was reading a lot of my daughter's from the Longhouse. She's a snipe clan, and I was thinking about that. I gave that a lot of thought last night and today. So each and every one of us here and out in the audience there's something we shy away from, and it isn't to be confrontational, but sometimes we have to confront ourselves. And there's a word in the language, they talk about that, and it's I guess nigangzaniyayan. It's like looking ahead beyond through here. And when a mother gives birth and the baby breaks water and they come into the world, that's where that comes from. Is that unborn being born, it comes from it comes from a spirit to physical. And our whole story is based upon spirit to physical. And the end of our story is physical to spirit. And we don't hear that enough because we're so busy. But we don't have to be. We just have to take that time to really understand that birthing process from spirit to physical. And then that dancing process from physical to spirit. And each and every one of us that lead and each and every one of us that co-lead, there's a spirit fire that I always talk about. And it'd be nice and be really beautiful if we ever lit that spirit fire for 24 hours to see who would come. And for some reason, I just wanted to share that today about not being handcuffed all summer. Growing up the way I grew up. I'm thankful that I wasn't. I want to sing this song, but I want to say this to each and every one of us. Panay we gave me out the wound. Mabigay ni mishkoya ni gaginigaboy ay mabigay kinishnabik. It doesn't matter what they think about us in town. It doesn't matter what they think about us when I cross the border. What really matters is the spirit that dwells before us. And we oftentimes we avoid that. But me, I don't have to. And I want to share that about being real strong. The mishkundami akeyai it's how you define that. And we are all that. Bonjour, bonjour, menedone, wineane, mabene, gaganishna be, yane. Mishkoyane, ne yabe, yane, mishkoyane, yabe, yane, yam. We nega mame gele vishkoyaga nishna bega we geyane dundane keya we geyane ne vishkunda geya we geyane ne mishkoyane ya ne abege ne nundane keya Mishkoyane ne yabegeya, we get nundane, gane zag we ane minito gane yam. Mishkun in the zag we age minidok is that forever we'll be loving spirit strong. And every time I come down here, I look forward to seeing who's not here and seeing who's here. Because it's such an unknown. And if I could actually think about AI being the known, I was thinking about that being really scary. But Miigwech, can you get I'm really happy that you asked me to come down here to do this. So, Mia.
Miigwech. All right, we're going to move on to our next item, which is membership participation. So for this portion of the meeting, tribal members are allowed to address their government, the Sioux Tribe Board of Directors. There's some rules associated with it. No profanity, no yelling. Each member is given up to 5 minutes. We're not going to be attacking board members, though. We're not. So if there's anything that's looking like it's going to do that, it's going to be enclosed before we even get started, okay? So Michelle, so that's Michelle. You guys know her at this point. So if anyone wants to talk to us, just flag her down. She has the forms. So if you have any. All right. Well, it's good enough for me. All right. So we're going to move on to minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept minutes from 8/20 of 24. All right. Motion by Isaac, support by Lana. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay. Hearing none. All those in support signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion carries. I'd also like to entertain a motion to accept the minutes from 8/27 of 24. Motion by Isaac, support by Rob. Any discussion on these minutes? Hearing none, all those in support signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion carries. And that brings us to our first resolution, which is ACFS USDA Emergency Supplies FY25 budget.
Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians hereby approves the establishment of an FY 2025 budget for USDA FDPIR Emergency Supply Chain Disruption with federal USDA monies of $140,800, no effect on tribal support.
Motion.
All right, motion by Lana, support by Isaac. Cheryl, could you please let the membership know what this is, please?
Sure. This is a direct cash assistance to purchase domestically grown and produced foods, so we can fill in for what might not be available with the trucks not coming.
So this is for our commodities program, just to
Yes.
make sure that we're
Yes.
not going to run out of food with supply issues from the
Right.
supplier.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Rob McGrory,
Yes.
Kimberly Hampton,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kimberly Lee,
Yes.
Lana,
Yes.
Isaac. Yes. Sean. I know he's on there. Aaron's not on there. Larry,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Kimberly Gravel.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next resolution is ACFS Emergency Assistance FY24 Budget Modification.
Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians hereby approves the FY 2024 budget modification to emergency assistance for an increase in tribal support, $37,018.19.
Motion by Lana, support by Isaac. Could you cover this for us, Juanita?
Yes, Juanita Bai, ACFS Director. We are here to request an increase in our fiscal year 2024 budget for our Tribal Emergency Assistance Program in the amount of $37,018.64. This fiscal year so far, we have served 290 households with assistance to resolve financial hardships, including obtaining, maintaining housing, medical travel, eviction notices, utility shutoffs, and basic needs.
Okay, thank you, Juanita. Any discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none. All those in support signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next resolution is indirect costs FY24 budget modification.
Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians hereby approves the FY 2024 budget modification to indirect costs for an increase in tribal support, $1,269,284.
Motion by Isaac.
Support.
By Tyler. Bob, could you cover this one and explain it, please?
Yes, this is a resolution to increase the tribal support in 854, which is our indirect cost center. We've already budgeted $600,000 for the year. We anticipate that we're going to need this extra funds to get us through the remainder of the year.
Okay, thank you. Any board discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Bridget,
Yes.
Kimberly Gravel,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Isaac. Yes. Kimberly Lee,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kimberly Hampton,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Lana.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
I'm sorry, Larry.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, next resolution is FY 2025 continuing funding, Health Division.
Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Directors approves continuing funding for the attached cost center list for fiscal year 2025 at their 2024 spending levels for a period not to exceed December 3rd, 2024.
Motion by Isaac, support by Mike. Jen, could you cover this, please?
Good evening, Jen Claire from the Budget Department. This resolution is requesting continued funding after 9/30 of this year. October 1 starts the Health Division's next fiscal year. There's approximately 77 cost centers that will need continued funding because we have not completed the review of their 2025 budgets.
All right, thanks, Jen. Any questions, comments from the board? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Aaron Paymont. I know he just signed in. Kimberly Lee,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Lana,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Michael, Bridget,
Yes.
Kimberly Hampton,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kimberly Gravel.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, motion carries.
My vote was yes. I apologize.
Thank you.
Okay, we got it down. Next resolution is comments on GLRI action plan.
Now therefore be resolved, the Sault Tribe Board of Directors approves the submission of the Sault Tribe comments on the proposed Great Lakes Restoration Initiative Action Plan 4. Be it further resolved that the Board of Directors hereby authorizes and approves the chairman of the tribe or their designee to execute any and all documents as may be necessary and appropriate to carry out the terms, conditions, and intent of this resolution.
Motion.
Motion by Isaac, support by Lana. Dr. Clark, could you cover this, please?
Sure. Robin Clark, AG, and Wendy Young, our Natural Resource Division. Division staff worked together to write this comment letter on the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative Action Plan 4. This plan identifies the focal areas, objectives, and performance measures for projects that would be funded by GLRI. The division receives a quarter to a third of our funding through Great Lakes Restoration Initiatives, and this funds our whitefish, the fisheries program, whitefish initiative, wildlife program, coastal resilience, as well as boreal initiative. So the letter really highlights the good work that we're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in support signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you. The next resolution is authorization to enter into contract JKL School Storage Building.
Now therefore be resolved that the chairman of the tribe or his designee is hereby authorized to enter into and execute a contract with McGahee Construction Company for the completion of the storage building project at the JKL school in accordance with the funding authorized for this purpose.
Motion by Isaac, support by Rob. Steph, I see you online right now. Could you cover this for us, please? Or Bill. It can be either Bill. So.
I will.
Okay, go ahead, Bill.
This, as it indicates, is an authorization to allow the chairman to sign a contract with McGahee Construction for the construction of a 6,000 square foot storage garage on the campus of the JKL school in the amount of $860,960, and will allow for the consolidation of the various storage structures that the school has now into one building, and will also allow to house the equipment and the other support items that the school has.
All right, thanks, Bill. Board discussion. Roll call.
Michael.
No.
Kimberly Lee.
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Kimberly Gravel.
No.
Rob.
Yes.
Lana.
No.
Kimberly Hampton.
Yes.
Bridget.
No.
Tyler.
Yes.
Sean.
No.
Isaac.
Yes.
Larry.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. It is a tie, Mr. Chairman.
It is a tie, and I vote yes.
Okay, 7 yeses.
Motion carries.
6 noes.
All right, the next resolution is Ishfaming Lofts Project Authorization to Invest Eagle Lending.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Directors of the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians hereby authorizes the Executive Director of Enterprise Operations to invest up to $50,000 in the Community Housing Network's proposed Ishpeming Lofts project using funds from Eagle Lending. Be it further resolved, the Board of Directors hereby authorizes the tribal chairman or his designee to execute all documents and agreements necessary to effectuate this investment.
Motion.
Okay, motion by Bridget. Support by Tyler. Danny, could you cover this, please?
Yes, this resolution is seeking authorization to invest in Ishpeming Lofts apartment, which is a similar building developments as the Garfield Landing. We would be a minority partner, have a minority share, and receive developer fees, which would create a return on investment greater than that of Garfield Landing. And in addition, there would be 10 units in this housing development set aside for tribal preference for housing to use for vouchers or for us to fill as we see fit.
Okay, thanks, Danny. Board discussion, start with Tyler.
Hey, Dan, I just wanted to thank you for bringing this forward. Like, this is great creative investment strategy for the tribe. And not only will we make money off our initial investment, it sets aside housing for the tribal people over there. So, I mean, it would be great if we could see more of these. So hopefully this is the first of many, because this is This is a really good deal.
Yeah, in discussions with the community housing development, our goal is to enter into one agreement for development a year. Attempt to it. There's multiple funding sources they access. We're a piece of that financing. But yes, we plan on continuing this and developing these type of ventures.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Are we talking about tax credits? Is that what we're talking about?
This is a blend of MSHDA funding, tax credits for private investors, and then Marquette Township and the tribe are also involved with the community housing in this one.
Yeah, there's no downside to listing us as an on the application. It just gives people preferential points to potentially be selected, and then we can either have the units or get the money. Isaac?
Yeah, this is actually the second time we entered into agreement like this, so it is moving forward.
Anyone else?
Giving Dan props.
Okay, roll call, please.
Sean?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Isaac? Yes. Michael?
Yes.
Kimberly Hampton?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Kimberly Lee?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Lana?
Yep.
Kimberly Gravel?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. The next resolution is acceptance of Altria settlement offer.
Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Directors of the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians hereby accepts the settlement offer from Altria. Be it further resolved, the Board of Directors hereby authorizes the tribal chairman or his designee to execute all documents necessary to accept the Altria settlement offer. Be it finally resolved, the Board of Directors hereby incorporates this acceptance of the Altria settlement offer into Resolution 2023-84 that settled the Jewel litigation.
Is there a motion? Support. Right. Motion by Bridget. Is it you, Bridget? Yes. Okay, Bridget, then second by Isaac. Josh?
Good evening, Josh Elliott, Legal Department. The tribe received a settlement offer from Altria, and this is a substitute in addition to the Jewel litigation the tribe settled in 2023, and this resolution is to authorize acceptance of that settlement offer in exchange for a release of claims against Altria.
Okay, appreciate it. Any board discussion? Isaac?
I just want everybody to know my daughter works for Altria, so.
Anyone else? So the legal department recommends accepting the settlement offer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, roll call, please.
Kimberly Hampton?
Yes.
Kimberly Gravel?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Kimberly Lee?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. The next resolution is investing in the RX Kids Initiative.
Hold on a second. Now therefore be resolved, the Sault Tribe Board of Directors hereby approves allocating up to $100,000 per year for up to 2 years to contribute to the RX Kids Initiative in Chippewa County. Be it further resolved that the Board of Directors hereby authorizes the chairman or his designee to execute any and all documents as may be necessary and appropriate to carry out the terms, conditions, and intent of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the Board of Directors hereby authorizes the CFO to complete any internal budget modifications utilizing third-party revenue or other funding raised to carry out the intent of this resolution.
Motion.
Motion by Isaac, support by Rob. All right, so I wasn't listed as a sponsor on this, but I support this and I can explain it. So RX Kids was a program that began in Flint a handful of years ago. It was started by a pediatrician who's also a professor at MSU. And what it did is it provided $1,500 to women who were pregnant. There weren't any income requirements. If you're rich, poor, didn't matter. You sign up for the program, you get $1,500. And then once your child was born, you got $500 per month for the first 3 months of that child's life. So combined, it equaled $3,000 for these families. And the goal was it gives money to families to purchase the items that they need for children, whether it be cribs, car seats, bottles, breast pumps, anything like that. This program was really successful, and the state allocated $20 million to it, and they want to expand it to different areas outside of Flint, and they want to start offering it in the Upper Peninsula. However, they want to start with a pilot first in Chippewa County before they provide it to the entire peninsula. They chose Chippewa County because it has the highest rates of poverty in the Upper Peninsula, and this is important for us as well because part of Unit 2 is also in Chippewa County. So we've had a discussion at the board level. So this program would fund this in Chippewa County. So once it's implemented, if you're pregnant, regardless of income, you could sign up, get $1,500. It's really easy to sign up. You do it over your phone. You can sign up for direct deposit, so you don't even have to come face to face with anyone. Then once your kid's born, you get $500 per month. We were having a conversation at the board level to try to figure out creative solutions to implement this in the other areas that we serve as well. So it wouldn't just be Chippewa County. They'll take a little bit of time though. So that's what that is. Any board discussion? Lana.
Yeah, we had this presentation last week, and it was exciting to hear the excitement in the presenter's voice and what they were inclusive to every pregnant woman like Austin said, in the Flint area. I was prepared, and we had the discussion this afternoon, I was prepared to make an amendment to this that would include all the 7-county service area, but it was explained that, they want to do that pilot project, and it's just going to be for Chippewa County, but that we are going to bring forward a set aside to include the other 6 areas later on, so that it will be inclusive to all the pregnant women after the initial phase of this. So that will be coming forward. We've already talked to legal about bringing that forward. So it's just real exciting. It's real exciting. There's not a bunch of red tape, and that women can get what they need, and some of the stress will be off them because they explain some key triggers in our poverty-stricken areas. So it's a great thing. So thanks.
Aaron?
Hey, I just want to add, when that comes forward, I will be supporting that as well. I think it's time for us to move past some of the inter-unit challenges and voting no, based on politics. Whenever we have something that can benefit all of our members in all units, we should be supporting it. So when that comes forward, I will support that as well.
Okay, anyone else? So when this passes, this will get a lot of attention. If you go to YouTube, type in RX Kids, there's at least a dozen stories that were pumped up by the media. This was a huge deal. And I think it will be just as big in Chippewa County and then in the rest of the service area as well. But for clarification, the reason it's here is even though they got that big allocation from the state, they still need to raise funds to implement it in these areas that they want to expand to, which is why they're approaching us. So the amount of money that we would invest in this program, tribal members would get about 4 times the benefit. So if we were to invest $100,000, we know on average how many tribal members are born in Chippewa County per year. So when we times that by 3,000, which is the benefit, you're looking at about 4 times the benefit of what you'd put in. So it's a really cost-effective way to help pregnant women and young families. So roll call, please.
Larry?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Kimberly Gravel?
Yes.
Kimberly Lee?
Yes.
Kimberly Hampton?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. All right, the next resolution is approval of JKL Fiduciary Committee bylaws.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians hereby approve the JKL Fiduciary Committee bylaws.
Motion by Isaac, support by Lana. Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Lana?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Kimberly Lee?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Kimberly Hampton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Bridget?
Yes.
Isaac? Yes. Sean?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Kimberly Gravel?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. The last resolution that we have on for tonight is obligation ARPA funding for tribally controlled school.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that all remaining American Rescue Plan Act funding for tribally controlled schools allocated the Sioux Tribe of Chippewa Indians shall be obligated to the expansion and updating of the existing educational facilities in the following manner: additional classrooms, additional academic services office space, additional special education space, additional restrooms, staff and students, cafeteria expansion, kitchen expansion and upgrade, additional commons workspace, front office reconfiguration, upgrades to the existing educational facility. Be it further resolved that the executive director or their designee is directed and authorized to immediately administratively amend all budgets, as well as all federal documents, plans required to obligate the funds for these purposes. Be it finally resolved that the executive director or their designee is directed and authorized to develop an RFP based upon the criteria and funding identified within this resolution, with the input of the stakeholders identified within this resolution, to be posted no later than November 1st, 2024.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Bridget, support by Kim. All right. Kim, do you want to explain this one? You want to go first?
Well, I brought this here August 6th and it passed, and then another resolution came up and it was passed earlier in the meeting today. So we'll just go and see what happens from here.
So point of clarification, Kim, this resolution did not pass. Okay, anyone else? Isaac?
August 6th it did.
Yeah, so the way this is listed, is it a priority list?
Excuse me?
Is this list, the way it's, you got the additional classrooms?
It was the priority list until last year, then it got changed.
Was it a priority list by this board?
It was by the JKL fiduciary in the school.
But they didn't have bylaws, so I don't know how you can reflect to that.
Nor did we, when these ones
But
came forward, the bylaws
Guys,
just
we're
got
not going back
passed.
and
No,
forth.
I'm just trying to get clarification. This list was not approved in the past by this full board, so I want to know if it's a priority list.
You can state that, I just don't want the back and
Okay.
forth.
Is it a priority list?
Okay,
It reads that it is.
So it is a priority list. So the list that we got from the JKL team, right, is null and void. So the covered walkway would be very last on the list.
okay. Who else wants to speak? Okay.
I have my hand raised.
Aaron and Tyler?
Okay, so coming back to office with all this back and forth and animus, and I won't name any names, but I think it's pretty obvious there's some politics that are playing into this. I have a child that goes to that school. I don't appreciate people who don't have kids that go to that school playing politics with our school. So whatever the reason, some of the priorities were missed. We had a really good meeting, and it's unfortunate that obviously we were not all at the same meeting, and some interpreted the goodwill that we had at that meeting and changed their positions or whatever. But and I won't go any further than that. I do appreciate those board members when we had a workshop and we discussed some of the other options and some of the priorities. We had a really good meeting where people were sharing ideas, what would be in the best interest of the kids, how we could reach out to the school board and the administration of the school and work collaboratively and cooperatively, not try to ram something down their throats or treat them with disrespect. I hope those days are past, because we created that school and they're educating our children, and our children that go to that school have test scores that are double digits higher than the public schools. So it's time for us to get behind and support our school and let all that other hate and anger go away. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Isaac, you had your hand up too?
Yeah, so we have some projects that are on this list. So if we're going back to the first of the list, which says classrooms, do we put the kitchen and cafeteria on hold? Do we put the additional bus garage on hold? I don't know, but it looks like to me it's classrooms first, right? So should Should Bill stop the RFP for the cafeteria and kitchen? I don't know. The other last thing is special education space. I cannot support that. I want the kids in the classroom. I don't want put in a separate building somewhere else and kind of left out there not to socialize with their peers is unfathomable to me.
Okay, anyone else?
I had raised my hand.
Oh, sorry, Aaron, I keep missing it. I apologize. Aaron.
That's okay. So, Isaac, the way that I see it is we have a priority list, but it's obviously, it has to make sense. Otherwise, we're playing politics or just putting on a little show. The school, and in working with our accounting and working with our team, our travel team, it has to make sense and it has to be able to be obligated, and otherwise we'll lose the money. And so that's a part I really didn't like when I came back, where people were playing this little game that are putting those dollars at risk, because it is not in the student's best interest. If we don't expend those funds, you have to obligate them. And I've said this several times, and I know people get offended by it. Obligating is just not putting on a piece of paper that you're going to do this or do that. You actually have to put out bids. You have to follow federal procurement. You have to be several steps down the road of spending those dollars. And so I think I support a priority list, but I also, with the provision, so I'm going to make a motion to amend that we meet with the school to get the priorities. We got a list today. It was a really good list from the superintendent. And that from the priorities that we vote on today, that they have to be reasonable, they have to be doable, and be able to obligate the dollars in time by December 31st, so the funds will go back. So I'll make that motion to amend.
Okay, so there's a motion to amend and support by Isaac. Real concisely, Aaron, could you restate the motion so the board administrator can write it down?
Yeah. I motion to amend the resolution to establish the priorities and to prioritize items after meeting with the school for those items the school sets as a priority and that can be accomplished and obligated by December 31st.
Okay, so we can have a discussion on the amendment right now? Any discussion? Okay, so let's roll call on the amendment.
Isaac?
Yes.
Lana?
No.
Kimberly Lee?
Yes.
Sean?
No.
Kimberly Gravel?
No.
Michael?
No.
Kimberly Hampton?
Yes.
Kyler?
Yes.
Bridget?
No.
Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Okay, motion to amend successfully passes 7-5. So we're back on the main resolution. If you haven't spoken twice, you're eligible to speak. Anyone else want to speak? All right, Tyler, Kim, anyone else? Okay, go ahead.
I just want to talk about that amendment that we just passed. So basically, Aaron had put an amendment in there to prioritize the list based on discussion with the faculty and staff, and we still had people voting against it. So I'm just curious what this is meant for then. If it's like, are we talking about the best interest of the students based on discussion with the actual professionals? Or are we talking about, our own self-interest on this table? So I need to understand. The amendment passed, but I need to understand, it seems like definitely games are at play and students shouldn't be the pawn.
Okay, Kim, then Mike.
Okay. I'm tired of getting accused that it's in my self-best interest or I'm playing a game. I'm not. I was on the JKL fiduciary when the first list came out. It got changed last year. The first list should have been worked on. And I voted no on amending this because we do have a list that was provided earlier and it got pulled. So why don't we just put that back in? Am I correct? So, and I'm not using students as pawns. I had a grandchild in there I know what's going on over at the school. And his little sister is still in that school, so I have their best interest at heart. I'm not doing this for a game.
Okay. I have Mike and Aaron, then let's vote on it. Okay. Did you speak twice, Aaron?
I spoke on, the rules are that you can only speak twice on each motion. I spoke on the amendment.
Okay. That's fair. All right, so Mike, then Aaron.
Oh, well, one of the things we're not supposed to do on here is question why people vote a certain way. And it's a little disheartening that we're still doing that and still speculating on why people vote certain ways. And since Tyler asked, I will say why I voted no on the priority list is because we already had a list. It was completely ignored anyways. People are going to pick and choose what they want to support and bring to this board. The JKL fiduciary as a whole had already voted on this. So it's just disheartening that that's what it's going to come down to is they're going to pick and choose what's going to come in front of us. And it doesn't matter what we prioritize because at the end of the day, we're forced to come. And it was discussed earlier that, hey, why didn't we bring other resos? Well, we did do a priority list. We approved that. If that's what we have to do is from now on, whenever we approve a priority list, is followed up with a reso the very next meeting to pick which ones we want versus the partnership that we were talking about. Hey, this is a partnership. We should have been working together. We did prioritize the kitchen expansion. And I heard a lot of discussion about classrooms and all that, and we might not be able to meet those deadlines and all that. But at the end of the day, the priority was the kitchen expansion. And I realized we ran into problems after problems, but if we keep on delaying it, then maybe we should have just went to somebody else. I mean, we always will have an excuse of why something doesn't get done. So we're supposed to be looking for solutions, and I still think we're not. We're picking and choosing. So that's why I didn't vote on a priority list, Tyler. I'll yield at that. Okay, Aaron?
Okay, so I'm glad to hear the focused on solutions. Voting no does not focus on solutions. It puts our funds at risk. I said earlier, I don't know what the big squabble was or who was behind the big squabble before I came back. But where we are right now is we're in the first week of September. Today is the very first day of school. And these funds have to be obligated by December 31st. So the coulda, shoulda, woulda, looking back at all the negative stuff is not going to accomplish anything. This idea that we can vote on priorities that can't happen by December 31st, that's just throwing away a vote. It's a no vote for no good reason. It's not looking to solutions. And so I'm going to ask everybody, whether you got your way on the amendment or you got your way up until now, what we're voting on right now is to collaborate with the school administration and the school board to get the priorities and to obligate these funds in the best interest of the school. I hope that all of the parents of the children that are attending JKL are watching this so they can see, are we focused on the future? Are we focused on solutions? Are we focused on the best interest of the children that are attending that school? Because filibustering or voting no at this point doesn't serve the interest of any kid that attends that school. Finally, just one last thing. On Thursday of last week, I went over for my nephew's orientation to get all the forms I was supposed to sign up earlier done and everything. And I talked to the teachers, I talked to the school board members, I talked to the administration. And I said, is there a big controversy over here about that bus garage or about the priority list? And they said, no. They said, please stop using our school as a political football. Stop it. Please, whoever's doing it, tell them to stop it. We don't want that at our school. We don't want that negative, bad medicine brought on our school. So I hope we can come together and support solutions. We had a lot of good ideas at our workshop last week about covered walkways and what we could do. So let's focus on the positive at this point. You may not have gotten your way up till now, but let's put that aside and let's focus on the positive and what's in the best interest of our school. Thank you.
All right, Tyler, Kim Lee, then Mike.
Yeah, so I mean, Aaron said a lot of what I was going to say, but I will mention this. So you keep referencing a previous list that was priority. What year was that? 2021? So I took office in July of 2022. You know how much dirt was shoveled over there by then? That was at least a year. So that was at least a year when this priority list came in and the projects were not shovel ready. Here we are in September of 2024. You think in 3 months we're going to get a shovel ready project approved by the BIA for additional classrooms? What, Austin asked questions earlier. What grades are we doing? Where are we putting them? We had a really good, as Aaron mentioned, we had a really good workshop of what their needs are and how much we can accomplish with the funding. And everybody seemed in a good mood. And then all of a sudden, here we are debating this. To say that you're not using these kids as a political football is nonsense. But I'll vote yes because the amendment passed, and that'll make us work with the JKL administration to do what's best and what's right.
Okay, Kim Lee, the mic.
Is Bill still sitting there?
He can't be. Come on up, Bill, please.
I'm here.
Hi, Bill. Quick question for you. During the discussion that we had last week, am I wrong in thinking that some of the things that are on this list are already being addressed, such as the kitchen expansion and upgrade?
That is correct. I mentioned earlier that the kitchen and the cafeteria expansion RFP went out at the end of last week. We were working also on the bus garage and the problems that are having there at the bus garage. And so that RFP, I think either went out last week, last Friday, or today. And so those items, a good number of them are being worked on as we speak.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that we are also working on some of those things on that priority list as well. I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mike.
Just a few things, I guess, is the priority list that I was talking about, not what Kim was talking about, but I was talking about was from July of last year. It was the fiduciaries committee's priority list from July 25th, 2023. The very number one thing was the kitchen expansion, and that is what I voted for. That is what I do. I think classrooms is going to happen? Probably not, because I don't think anybody's going to work with us to get that done anyways. So, but this whole topic of filibustering and the money's not going to get spent and all that, we got presented with new ideas today by the superintendent, and I believe that we will work together and we will spend that money before the deadline. We'll get it obligated before the December deadline. But to sit here and say, hey, we couldn't do any of that and we're not going to spend the money, we got presented with new options today, and we will work together and we will spend that money. And to suggest otherwise, I think is wrong. Will we spend all of it? Maybe, maybe not, but we're going to try our hardest to spend every single dime of it. I just have disagreed with the way it shook out with the priority and this garage. So that is what I base my votes on in the past. That's what I will continue to base my votes on. And to suggest otherwise is you're just trying to misalign people, and it is what it is. I'll yield.
Bridget?
Point of information, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
The previous vote, the approval of the bus garage, so that's no longer on the table, so that's no longer a reason to vote no?
You know, if this passes, it's not going to take the bus or the storage garage off the table. I mean, that passed. This is for leftover funds for projects. So, I mean, Bill's right here. He can tell us how much is left over after that. I mean, timeline-wise, you're not going to get an addition built, but you don't even have enough money in there.
So my
not
question,
even close.
My question was, is voting no have anything to do with the bus garage? And I think
that's not a point. All right, Bridget, go ahead.
Thank you.
So I wasn't going to comment because this is just getting ridiculous, but, we want to go and throw all this drama and politics out there. I don't think anybody can argue with the fact that building a storage building or a bus garage has zero impact on a kid, does nothing for a kid. So don't accuse some of us of not caring about the kids and
Dilatory,
politics.
Mr. Chairman, dilatory, that's not the motion on the floor.
Aaron, just let her finish.
Actually, the point of order, we have the authority as members of the board. If somebody's talking dilatory, that has nothing to do with what we're voting on right now. That was the previous resolution.
Okay.
That's not being considered right now. So it's dilatory, meaning it's not germane to what we're talking about.
Okay, I want this finished up. Finish up, Bridget.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's my first time talking and you're going to be rushing me. Okay.
I'm not rushing you. I'm merely recognizing that you're the last person on this list, and this is the second to last resolution.
Wow. Well, I guess who approved the RFPs to go in the first place for the kitchen and what else? The cafeteria? Was that approved by the JKL fiduciary? Who approved the RFPs to go out?
The projects were approved by the fiduciary committee. So we went forward with the RFPs based upon that. They will come back when we get the bids in, and we'll go through the process like we're going through right now or went through with the storage garage.
Okay, so my big concern is we don't have those RFPs back. So we have no idea what those bids are going to come in at for those projects, correct?
That's on an exact amount, no. What we have is the architect's estimates.
Okay, which we know could be depending on who's bidding. So we're in a hurry to pass the storage building and other stuff, but we don't know what these important priorities are going to cost. That's why I don't know why that was shoved down our throat when this is more important and we don't know how much it's going to cost. That's all.
All right, there's no one else on the list. I'll speak great fast. So the storage building already passed. That isn't being considered anymore. So Bob, this passes. Does it impact that at all? Not that I can see either. So that's going to happen. Bill, when you subtract the amount of funds from the storage garage with what was available in ARPA, how much money do you have?
I would say you'd be down close to $2,100,000 before this list.
So are you confident that we're going to be able to afford the cafeteria and the kitchen based on the architect's recommendations?
Yes.
Okay. So what's left after that? Certainly not enough to build a classroom addition. I mean, come on, let's be reasonable. Let's be real here. So roll call, please.
Tyler.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Lana.
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Kimberly Hampton.
Yes.
Bridget.
Yes.
Rob.
No.
Kimberly Lee.
Yes.
Kimberly Gravel.
Yes.
Carried.
Okay, motion carries. The last resolution was added. The board agreed to waive the rules to add it tonight. That resolution is titled Rescind Resolution Number 2024-249. Is there any objection to waiving the reading since this mentions an individual by name? Okay, so there's no objection, so we're going to waive the reading. Is there a motion? Motion by Bridget. Is there support? Support by Rob. Discussion? Say that or no?
Yeah, I will.
All right, I want to call on Aaron real quick before we vote on it. So Aaron, we waived the reading just because it lists someone's name. So if you could refrain from mentioning this person's name, we'd appreciate it.
Just to let the board know, we did reach out to the individual you've already appointed and let them know there are a number of concerns with the letter their employer wants us to sign, the conflicts, indemnification, all the things we discussed today. So he is aware. He has been going back and forth on email. He's talking with his superiors at his place of employment, trying to work the matter out. And he did ask for a couple of days. I just spoke with the court and back to get their opinion on it, and their opinion is their concerns remain, and they would suggest we just move on, as we discussed earlier today. But out of fairness to the person we have appointed, I wanted you to know he did ask for a couple of days to see if they could work through some of these things. We could probably work through identification. We're not going to sign any kind of letter with an outside third party to have one of their employees volunteer for us. And I think at the end of the day, I agree with the court's position that those conflicts just, even though they're not necessarily legal conflict for the position this person would be in, it might be asking for trouble down the road, and they want to move on.
Okay, appreciate that. I wanted the board to hear that before they voted. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Michael.
Yes.
Kimberly Lee.
Yes.
Aaron.
No.
Kimberly Gravel.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Lana.
Yes.
Kimberly Hampton.
Yes.
Bridget.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
Carried.
Okay, so that resolution passes.
Okay.
So now we're going to move on to new business. Aaron?
If it's okay at the board, I'd like to reach out to that individual and just talk this through with them so there are no hard feelings.
I hope you do. Yep,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank
All right, so that concludes all the resolutions. Let's move on to new business. The first is Conservation Committee request. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion. Hold on one second. I have the language written down, Kim, so I wouldn't mess it up, and I can't find it, so I messed it up anyways. All right, so I'll wing it. I'd like to entertain a motion to start a proposal to potentially lift the baiting ban in Chippewa County, Emmett County, and what's the last county?
Sheboygan, Emmett, and
Sheboygan, Otsego, Emmett County, pending recommendation from the Conservation Committee. Not pending recommendation, they already did recommend it. So, is there a motion? All right, motion by Kim, support by Isaac. Any discussion on this? So, Ryan, you want to fill everyone in with what this is? So basically, there's a bait ban in the northern lower peninsula. However, there's really not a ban. They let people bait for the early season and for a veterans hunt. So a lot of our members live in that area, and if you bait, it's easier to harvest deer, easier to feed your family. So that's why they want this to be considered. Ryan, anything to add to that?
No, I guess I will say in the 2007 decree, when the state of Michigan does prohibition that affects the resource due to disease control, we have agreed to obligate ourselves to do the same. So in 2018, we added the prohibition of no baiting in Lower Peninsula to our code to be in line with the general ban of baiting that the state of Michigan has, with the exception of the Liberty hunts and the independence hunt. I did double check. We talked about the youth hunt during agenda review. I did double check. The state of Michigan does not expressly allow the youth to bait during youth hunts or mentor hunts. Whether that happens or not is another issue, but they do not expressly allow it. So
appreciate the
I just want to
correction.
make that point of information. So the Conservation Committee recommended bringing to the board a request for authorization to start consultation processes with the state. The other parties would also be involved to talk about changing our code to allow deer baiting in those 3 counties that you enumerated, Chairman. And then if we get that, if we can work together with all the parties to get approval, we can do a stipulation that allows us to change that code without the state objecting and going through the whole arbitration clause that is in the 2007 Inland Consent Decree.
I appreciate it, Ryan. Any board discussion on this? Okay, Tyler?
I don't want to call you out, but can I ask Robin her input on this? If you're not comfortable, you don't have to, but I just want to ask.
Well, unfortunately, so Brad Sillett did present to the Conservation Committee on this. There are legitimate reasons why we would not be baiting across these counties. The risk in terms of disease spread is very real. monitoring in our deer population is minimal, so we don't actually have a good idea about the prevalence or spread of chronic wasting disease. And then there's also bovine tuberculosis. We had talked before about there are a number of issues that I think the tribe, or that maybe the tribe would want to address in terms of reopening or trying to negotiate changes with the inland consent decree that might have more teeth, that would be like biologically sound, whereas this issue in particular is the wildlife program or the division itself wouldn't be able to back that change based on the biology.
So my question to you then would be, because I understand this, from an epidemiological standpoint, and my concern is about the resource and in protecting nature. We did pass a resolution saying that we would protect our first relatives. So my question would be, is there something that you can propose that meets in the middle and both protects and enacts our sovereignty?
Oh, absolutely. Another issue is, I think, so Jason Grant, the Conservation Committee proposed, not just full-on baiting, but in the middle of the road type option. And so I think that maybe going back and talking through what are our different options is a great idea.
Can I elaborate on that too? So if the board does authorize us to send this proposal forward, we would work, of course, with Natural Resources. I know they have their concerns, but we would set up a proposal and we could start the conversation with our biologists, with the state biologists, with all the parties, and see if there's a way that we could make our regulations in a way that would protect the resource and still allow the baiting. And that would all be worked out in the consultation process. It'd be like an informal negotiation. So we could start this process understanding that the state's going to have their own objections to it. Our own resources department might have their own input that the science might not be there, but we can work with all the parties to see if there is a way that we can open up some kind of baiting for deer in the lower peninsula for those 3 counties for our tribal members that doesn't put the resource at harm, or that has, like we talked about at the agenda review, some kind of fail-safe built into the code. And all that would have to be fleshed out, both on our side and with the other parties.
That's my question, though, is like this isn't going to happen this year.
No.
So why wouldn't we just get the language right to begin with before we started the negotiation process?
That is an option as well.
That's where I'm going to stand on this one.
Okay, anyone else? Rob?
Would there be a benefit to including an assessment period to say, these are the possibility of negatives, but we're willing to make an assessment at the end of a certain time period and then revert back to where we were prior?
Yes, we could work in some kind of language like that. Just to put it out there, I think what we're getting at is we didn't fully set up a proposal with the Conservation Committee. This was voted on and approved to send to the board. And so my recommendation would be if the board approves authorization, before I would send anything, we're going to have to build up that proposal and get all our evidence and talk with our bios. But that can happen before we send the proposal as well. It doesn't have to, it can be either or. But we definitely haven't been able to do our due diligence in that respect yet. That'd be something we'd have to do before we sent off the proposal to the state. So we make sure we know what we're talking about when we have all the bases covered.
Okay, I got a list. I have Kim Gravel, Lana, and Mike. Go ahead, Kim.
So would you recommend we table this until you get all that in order? Is that what you were getting at, Tyler? Okay.
This is not speaking for the Conservation Committee. Clarence can weigh in on that. I believe he's still on Zoom. But I would have preferred to workshop this more with both the Conservation Committee and the board to really flesh it out before we go forward, yes. And I did advise the Conservation Committee on that as well at 2 meetings. So that is my preference.
Motion to table.
All right, motion table, is there a second? By Isaac, roll call on the tabling motion.
Sean?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Isaac? Michael?
Yes.
Kimberly Hampton?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Kimberly Lee?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Kimberly Gravel?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. That brings us to our last item for tonight, and that is Board of Directors 2024 calendar. So we have a pretty busy October and November, so there's been a discussion just to shift around some dates for meetings. We'll still meet our constitutional requirement of having X amount of meetings per month. With that said, I'd like to entertain a motion to substitute the October 15th board meeting to October 22nd.
Motion.
Motion by Isaac, support by
I thought that was
Lana. Any discussion?
Bridget made the motion.
Sorry, you're far down there, Bridget. I have a hard time hearing.
And I apologize. Bridget made the motion, but who made the second?
Yeah.
Lana.
So what I asked the board, hearing loss runs in my family. If you're pretty far away from me, please turn on your microphone. You know, runs in my family. My daughter's 100% deaf. My mom has hearing loss, all my aunts and uncles. So I apologize for not hearing you, Bridget. So who made the motion? Bridget. Bridget made the motion. Who made the second one? Isaac. Any discussion? Okay. All right. All those in support signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion carries.
Can we make that clear?
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the whole day, not just the meeting.
Yep. Any board concerns? All right, without objection then, meeting adjourned. You got one, Kim? Sit down. Sit down, guys.
There is an objection.
It's just a request. I just want to know how many students are on the waiting list for JKL.
Okay. All right, so Isaac, forward that on to the administration, have them just CC the whole board in the response. Okay. All right, so let's try this again. Without objection, meeting adjourned? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.